Hi, Carolina.
Hi.
How about you?
Please repeat that. I couldn't hear.
How are you?
I'm doing great and looking forward to this session.
Yeah. Welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Carolina.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Before going to our session, I would like to introduce you to our audience. Carolina. Yeah.
Thank you for
Carolina,
the invitation.
uh, Carolina Selvich is an expert in helping leaders master in hidden skills of diplomacy, including navigating culture, building trust, and leading under pressure. With extensive experience in international development and strategic partnerships, she now speaks, trains, and mentors professionals seeking to grow their influence. She previously served as honorary consul of Shillings, Texas, and has worked with both government and business sectors to deliver tangible results. Carolina has held leadership roles in various organizations, including President of Grupo International Dollars and VP of Communications at Association of Image Consultants International. Certified in communication and image management, she is especially passionate about empowering women and minorities to step into leadership with confidence. Such a great bio, Carolina. You are really inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
And the
that
stage
lovely
is
introduction.
yours.
Let us begin with a question. Have you ever witnessed a workplace conflict spiral out of control? Maybe a misunderstanding between departments. Maybe a heated email exchange. Maybe a decision that left the team frustrated. Now, imagine if that moment had been handled with tact. What might have been different? Today, we're diving into the art and science of diplomacy as a skill set that provides stability, prevents problems, and shapes results. Diplomacy isn't just for ambassadors in grand halls, it is for daily living and everyday leading. Professionals are a great example of this. They navigate their own level of complexity, including diverse perspectives and a constant pouring of information from all sides. In their case, diplomacy is the practice of maintaining work relationships and conducting on the go negotiations without burning bridges along the way. That ability rests on three pillars: informational skills, the gathering and sharing of knowledge; relational skills, the fostering of empathy and trust; operational skills, the taking action with agility and creativity. For those who might be taking notes, let us go over it again. The ability to not burn bridges rests on three pillars: informational skills, the gathering and sharing of knowledge; relational skills, the fostering of empathy and trust; operational skills, the taking action with agility and creativity. Together, these skills weave the fabric of a thriving organizational culture. But what happens when diplomacy falters? Let us explore the cost of diplomacy's absence. Picture an organization where diplomacy itself has crumbled, where nobody cares about anyone or anything anymore. Disagreements fester, conflicts go unresolved, lack of confidence creeps in. Teams retreat into silos, hoarding information instead of collaborating. Small issues balloon into grudges or rivalries. Without diplomacy as a buffer, decision making becomes contentious. As stakeholders prioritize self interest over collective goals, often resulting in missed opportunities or strategies that are simply missteps. Without a diplomatic approach to navigate multiplicity, employee engagement plummets and turnover spikes as talented individuals seek healthier environments. Those two things alone can sink any ship. Now I'm curious. Tell me in the chat, what do you think about such an environment where differences clash instead of bouncing ideas from each other? Go ahead, tell me in the chat. That type of culture feels less like work and more like war, doesn't it? Once, I was at a company where two departments, marketing and sales, but you would think are on the same side, right? They were at odds over priorities. Marketing wanted to highlight the campaign, while sales wanted to highlight the product. The tension escalated every time there was a launch. The cost? Not just financial, potentially a fractured culture. If only they would have used the diplomatic toolbox to bridge the divide. This isn't just an organizational situation, it is a human one. When diplomacy fails, those things that hold us together erode. So, what is the antidote? How do we prevent that? By embracing diplomacy as a superpower, we gain access to one of its most potent tools, which is innovation. In today's fast-changing world, innovation isn't just technological. It is a skill, an operational skill, which is the ability to craft flexible, creative responses to unexpected challenges. Let me repeat that for those who might want to memorize it. The ability to craft flexible, creative responses, not just to anything, but to unexpected challenges. Think about it this way. Diplomats operate within interconnected landscapes, whether it is global trade or across functional project. These are the people in your workplace that face entrenched conflicts, such as long-standing disagreements, at the same time that they must deal with emerging threats, such as a depleting budget and another constraints, which is very similar to what happens inside any business. Innovation, as a skill of diplomacy, equips leaders to devise novel solutions, adapt strategies, and leverage influence through modern means. Let me share a story. Years ago, a group was divided over new policy. Cultural differences and skepticism made consensus nearly impossible. Instead of forcing the issue, the leader innovated. She hosted a brainstorming session using collaborative approaches, inviting input from all involved. By blending participation with decision making, she turned resistance into buy-in, saving the project and strengthening her community. Innovation in diplomacy sometimes means unconventional ideas. Next time that you find yourself in a bind, consider multi-stakeholder partnerships or alternative communication channels. Turn your challenges into opportunities to see what's possible. So, what is the role of technology in all of this? Many times, tech is the engine of innovation. In modern diplomacy, technology is a game changer, enabling us to advance with precision and speed. Those two things are very important now, precision and speed. Imagine this, real-time communication tools to connect teams across continents, which means the breakdown of barriers in real time. That's priceless. For example, data analytics that do uncover patterns and reveal trends. By doing that, you can help leaders anticipate outcomes. Another example, digital platforms like social media or virtual summits like this one to engage global audiences. Last example, blockchain, of course, which ensures transparency and accountability. Raise your hand if you have ever used a tool like Zoom or Teams or Skype when it was around to bridge a gap with a colleague, a client, a friend. That is diplomacy in action, powered by tech. During recent supply chain disruptions, managers in charge of logistics used AI-driven forecasting to reroute shipments, plus a digital platform to negotiate with suppliers. The result, minimum delays and stronger partnerships. That is innovative diplomacy at work. By mastering these tools, you too can craft solutions that overcome obstacles and forge unity. Think about it. Overcome obstacles and forge unity. In this case, technology does not replace human connection. It amplifies it, making you more impactful when leading with foresight. So, why does this matter? It matters because diplomacy doesn't just fix problems, it prevents them. Let us touch for a moment on the ripple effect of diplomacy. With tact, emotional intelligence, active listening, and strategic communication, diplomatic leaders survive scrutiny, mediate in the midst of antagonistic forces, and build consensus. Wouldn't you like to be able to do that? When a leader de-escalates tension between team members, the organization as a whole preserves stability and prevents delays. When misalignments are addressed early, effective communication can reduce friction. It definitely can, which means we can keep everyone focused. This proactive problem solving strengthens international cohesion and enhances your company's reputation. Everyone benefits: clients, partners, and the communities they serve. But the impact goes farther. Professionals that model constructive behavior build trust and cooperation that ripple into society by promoting mutual understanding, reducing tensions in a world that desperately needs it, wouldn't you say? By preventing small issues from snowballing into crisis after crisis after crisis, diplomatic leaders safeguard morale, therefore productivity, ensuring sustainable success for your organization, your business, your community. As we close, I challenge you to become a force for good in this world. Be a diplomat in your profession, no matter what life throws at you, and you can start small. Be the first to listen and the last to speak. Participate actively in your next meeting. Use technology to bridge a gap. Propose a creative solution to a stubborn problem. These diplomatic approaches, big and small, like ripples that get larger in size, public and private, like our own lives, spark innovation and transform people. You are at the heart and you are the heartbeat of your organization. You link strategy and execution. You connect departments and teams. You shape the future. Believe it. By embracing diplomacy with informational, relational, and operational skills, you can prevent unnecessary problems and unlock unbelievable results. So let's commit to this. Allow tact to triumph over tension. Together, we can turn our world around into unstoppable growth. Thank you for your energy. I would love to hear from you. Please drop your questions in the chat I will answer one by one afterwards. Let's keep the conversation going as a diplomat would. Overlooked. So I'm going to read out loud the question. What is the seventh skill of diplomacy and why is it so often overlooked? The seventh skill is innovation itself. Innovation as an operational skill, which means a way to take action. This way to take action is very specific. If you remember, we mentioned that it's with agility and with creativity. Those two things together will help you make innovative moves in action. Now, why it is overlooked? For the very reason that we're here, because the information is simply not out there. So I am so glad that all of you got the opportunity to find out about it. Another question: how can leaders build trust quickly across cultures and sectors? With empathy. If you remember, we also mentioned that in the relational skills of diplomacy, there are two important things, which is empathy and trust. When you need to connect quickly, the empathy portion of it needs to be upfront. Trust is something that takes more time. There are very specific steps that we can take in order to build that trust, but it requires a bit of more time. Empathy is the one thing that is going to allow you immediately to communicate better with the person you have in front. Next question. Can diplomacy be taught, or is it an innate skill leaders must refine? In my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, everything can be sort of taught and learned, and everything is something some people are born with. Some people are natural people, right? Some people are extraordinary as tasks. The important thing for me to remember is that we need everybody. We need all the skills. We need everyone to bring what their strength is to the table so we can coordinate and work together for an outcome. Nobody, none of us can do this alone. So, in this case, somebody who can be a natural people person, if you wish, and also a task-oriented person, which also exists in a spectrum. Some people are good at both things. Those, if you look deeply, are usually those diplomats that for some reason they just have a facility in multiple areas. But then you need to organize all that. So yes, it can be taught in the sense that even if you have a natural trait, you can perfect it and make it better, just like everything else in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And you can start from zero, nothing, or with talent that you already have. Next question. What role does image and communication play in diplomatic leadership? I'm going to read the question again. What role does image and communication play in diplomatic leadership? I'm going to separate this question in two parts, okay? One has to do with diplomacy and the other one with leadership. And then, when you put them both together, I think it's important to understand the little differences, because a diplomatic leader is different from any other leader in their specific industries. So diplomatic, it has to do with the ability to bridge whether are differences of opinion, whether are just different takes on things, and the ability to bridge without burning bridges along the way, right? So if you think about it that way, image is everything. Because if I show up to your house looking like the enemy, you're not going to open the door, right? Now, let's look at the leadership part. In order to lead, you need to have somebody following. And people are not going to follow somebody they do not trust. It doesn't matter how many titles you have at your door. So, in the leadership side, your communication style is extremely important. You need to inspire certain things, such as confidence in what you're saying, so people can have confidence in you. And that is called credibility. Confidence and credibility are two different things, and a diplomatic leader must have both in the image, in the communication, and everything else we do. Next question. How do you help women and minorities be seen and heard in high stakes environments? This is a great question, actually, because just like so many things that are important in life, you can always take one of two choices. You can do it in a way that is constructive, or you can do it in a way that is not. And I have chosen the collaborative way. So when I am in an environment that is either new or different in some way, whether it is to my own history, what I do is, first of all, understand the environment itself. And coincidentally, that is the first step in any diplomatic mission. Your step number one is to read and assess the environment. And only when you have that first understanding of where you're at, then you decide what is it that you want to do. Do you want to be able to express yourself as you are? Are you there to add value of who or to whom they are? See, all sorts of questions comes into when you start thinking about your question, which is a great question. So I would leave you with this. Number one, read the environment. Number two, decide what is it that you want to be in that environment. If what you want to do is to add value, then you need to understand what is it that actually adds value in that specific situation. It's not the same everywhere. And start there, because nobody's going to want to listen to you if you're not adding value anywhere. You're just sucking air and energy. Begin with the end in mind. If you want to be valued, you need to be of value. And that's how you do it. Next question. How can leaders bridge communication gaps when working across global teams with different professional expectations? Great question, because the expectation is something that can make or break any deal, right? So there is a moment after you've read the environment, after you know what the value is that you're going to bring, you need to start there. You need to clarify first and foremost those expectations. And an easy way to do that is to set basically what are the goals that everybody, no matter where you are, where you come from, what language you speak, we are all here for a reason. And the reason are those goals. And that is the first unifying moment that all those people will even feel, if it's done right, they will even feel that they belong to something greater than themselves. That's what the leader in that situation is charged to do. And once you have that aim, everything else is easier from there because everyone will be deciding all day long things to do based on that aim. That is the unifying force, and that's what the leader needs to do. If you would like for me to answer any other questions, I'll be happy to do it. Please feel free to write to me. You can go to my website, carolinaselvi.com, and I'll be more than happy to tell you more about the skills of diplomacy.
Yeah, Carolina, one of our speaker, Aliona, want to ask you a question. Alina?
Hi, Carol. Yes, hi, Carolina. First of all, it's really an honor to meet you virtually and to hear your presentation. I want to ask you the following question. As a diplomat operating within a traditional space, male-dominated political space, I wanted to ask you what deliberate approaches have you found most effective to ensure that your voice it's not just heard but actually taken in consideration, and you are delivering that message, that idea to the world. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Alina, right? That's your name?
Aliona.
Aliona, beautiful
Yeah.
name. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, something very important, I think, for us girls to remember, if we wanted to be invited to that table and we want to play it in that field, we need to be able to have something to offer. Being a
Yeah.
woman, period, is not enough to take space, air, and energy or resources from some kind of operation that has a specific goal. And we're speaking right now, obviously, of businesses, organizations, and that sort of thing. So the first thing we need to do is find something of value to offer. What is it that we are there to do? And if we think about it as a sport team, find a position in which you're good. Find that position where you're really talented and you can bring something that can help others. Now, you were bringing the part of working with environments or in environments with mostly men. Something that has worked for me always is instead of devaluing their strengths, is to do the exact opposite, making sure that they know that I see their greatness. And let me tell you, when you do that with anybody, it could be another woman who you are working with. The moment you do that, there's a level of mutual respect that begins to grow. And that is the way that I approach those environments because we're different, even though we might be equal in responsibilities or those expertises that we want to share. There's a reason we're there. So don't be afraid, don't get nervous, don't think if you're invited, if you were there, you're there for a reason. They saw something in you they liked. You're already there. And you won't believe how many times I've seen women kind of like they're already there and they themselves kind of sabotage
Yeah.
instead of, right? instead of feeling the confidence of, wow, I'm here. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I value it so much. I'm going to give it my all. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to be undermining my colleagues just because they're men.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the reason I asked, because this just happened 2 weeks ago to me. I had received an invitation to join a very important event in Canada where I had the pleasure to connect with diplomats and politicians, the Consul of US, France, Italy, and other countries to celebrate an event in Toronto. That was my first time interacting with this professional. So definitely I felt a little bit, nervous, but I was able to network, to communicate, to present myself, and I didn't feel I don't belong. I don't belong in that room. So thank you for sharing the ideas and to answering my question.
Absolutely. Please contact me. I think you had a wonderful opportunity when you did that, and something that I can already see in the way that you talk about your experience is that you're not trying to be someone else, and you're not trying to be a man. You need to be yourself. You're a woman and you have amazing talents. We do things they cannot do. That's why we are an addition. But it needs to come from a place of self-respect and respect for the other as well. So congratulations. And I'm sure that was one of many for you to come.
Thank you so much. And how can I connect with you actually?
Yes. If you go to my website, that would be one way. I also have an email. Very easy for you to remember. Diplomat speaker at facehack.com. Diplomat speaker, facehack,
FACE, yeah.
Face as in face, hack as in hack.com.
Amazing. I will review this and I'll rewrite, make sure, but yes.
Thank you. Yes, please write to me, and anyone else that might have some experience they wanted to share or, verify how to go about it. I'm more than happy to share with you my expertise.
Thank you, Aliona.
Just in case you can write the email again. just in case if you're able to write the email in chat.
Is somebody,
okay,
yes,
so
in the chat. Let's put it in the chat. Diplomat speaker at facehack.com for everybody who might want to reach me. I'm more than happy to share my experience. I was a foreigner myself. I'm still in some ways. I know what it is. I know how hard it is. It took me years to figure this out. And now all I want to do is to share it with you. So do not hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Aliona, for asking the questions. And thank you for your valuable time, Aliona. Yeah. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Carolina, for illuminating the power of connection in a digital first world. Your clarity, depth, and real world strategies have left a lasting impression on us all. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable time, Carolina.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Delighted.
Yeah. Please stay in the backstage and join the next session, Carolina.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Thank you, Carolina. Bye-bye.
Bye.